And we are live. We're just going to wait for a couple of minutes, maybe, or less than that. And let everyone get onboarded on the live session. Meanwhile, Ajay, how's it going with you?
Going good. How are you?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I think we're going to have some lot of fun, I think, and a lot of good conversation at the same time.
Yeah,
Because while the whole world is talking about growth, we're going to talk about retention. And I think that's such an unspoken topic about that. Everyone is spending like their entire dime and wealth on
yeah,
growth, but no one talks about that. You cannot grow if you cannot retain. If you're spending
absolutely.
$1 acquiring a customer and the next month you're acquiring one more customer, but your first customer left, it's not a growth at that stage. So that's something that I think a lot of people would love to see. And then we'll definitely dive into UserStak and how UserStak can help at the same time. So yeah, excited to have you. So thank you so much, people, for joining in. This is another episode with PitchGround Live. And today we have Ajay from UserStak. Ajay, if you can just take a moment to introduce yourself, I think that would be fabulous.
Right, sure. Thanks for the good intro. I'm very excited for the session tonight. So yeah, my name is Ajay and I'm the co-founder of UserStak. So we are an upcoming platform that actually specializes in customer success, and we want to like be able to give product owners and businesses a full stack platform to manage all public platforms. That's in a nutshell. I will be going through what we do and how you guys can actually improve your customer retention. But I think I'll hand it over to Edith for now. That's basically about me. Perhaps later towards the Q&A, we can talk about my work experience, what I've been through. I'll also talk about like how those experiences actually shape how we actually shape the UserStak platform as well. Yeah.
Perfect,
So
perfect. Thanks so much, Ajay. Before we dive into the entire product and the presentation, tell us a bit more about you, your team. How did you get started, and why a customer retention product? As
right.
against everyone is trying to build like a crazy marketing product, productivity product, sales product. Why a customer retention, customer support product?
Right, right. Yeah, it's an interesting question because in my field, I'm actually a product designer. So I actually go about like sculpting what the customer experience, not just how the app is supposed to function like, but how the customer experience from the beginning, how different touch points actually get controlled and managed. Even if you're a startup or if you're like a top 100 Fortune 500 company, right? So it's still the same thing. And there wasn't, and in all my years, I have like roughly around like 6 to 7 years. So I've been in like the earlier stage of startups to very well established companies as well. And there's one pattern that I've seen repeating again and again, and that's often looked as like a afterthought for most like product company. At least this is a mistake I've seen happen repeatedly. And there's like a few reasons around it as well. But then I think the market, or rather the founders themselves, should know that, okay, this like department exists. Like, what is customer retention? How do I go about actually calculating it? And it's not just about like live chat. There's way much other things that you could actually do as well. So yeah, that's a bit like briefly on like what I've like been through as well, and how this whole like perception shaped UserStak. So eventually I got this idea like way back. It's like always the same thing. Like in UserStak, it's more like customer success, not like customer support. Suppose just one like umbrella term under success. You have like multiple divisions under it, and these kind of knowledge, the more like businesses know about this, the better their product has the success, right? So what we try to do is we help you like we create a platform, obviously, and what it does is it will actually help you like control all of this. Like for example, like chat, right? Everyone offers a chat widget. Most of them even offer it for free as well. But what about for like SaaS startups, the ones that can actually convert? What about those like that just doesn't let you like just chat? What about those added features? Now AI is coming as well. It's a new like subject as well. So how does one business actually choose a platform that they don't have a lot to manage? Like for example, another example would be something that we're working on is blogs. Okay, what that would mean is if this happens in a normal startup, you need to have your developers, your designers, they need to come in, they need to spend like a week or so. And in the industrial best practices, you also have CTAs and whatnot. All of these things help improve your customer retention. It's part of like your brand building, part of building your trust. And if you're making a blog, there's way more like people who have like 10 years of experience will tell you, there's a way you actually make these blogs as well. It has to be SEO compliant, you have to have CTAs and whatnot. So likewise, what we are trying to do is we want to give a simple, easy to use platform. don't configure much as possible, because I can go through in when our version 2 eventually drops, because that's when we are releasing the docs. But we are quite opinionated in the sense, very much like Atlassian, they have this philosophy of like, you can assign a ticket to one developer, but today you have like co-programming happening as well. So
Right.
we are opinionated in that sense, as well as we think this is the industry best, and this would help you convert the most as well. And we're trying to reduce the effort you spent in doing this kind of things.
Awesome.
So yeah, so UserStak actually in the beginning was just a Slack integration. It back then it didn't have like a dashboard. I'll go through what we actually have today, what's on the market right now, what we're offering as a product. But in the beginning, it was just a simple like Slack integration where we created a page. You go onto the page, you sign up, you click on create a channel, and it'll ask you which Slack channel do you want to like create it, like have it sync to. And then that's how it began. And over time, we realized that our users, our customers preferred this way of management. As we moved mid-market, we learned a lot of things, and we think that, like customers, like support, right, is one of the key factors in improving your customer retention as well.
Awesome. Ajay, with so many similar products in the market, right? How do you really differentiate? Like, how does UserStak really differentiate as compared to all the other products out there in the market?
Right. So like just to touch up on like what I said previously as well, right? Yes, it is true that there are like different like products in the market today as well. But what our direction is for the future and presently as well, right, is what we are trying to build is like a entire operating system for every public touch point that you might have. So ultimately, everything if you talk about a lot of like different key data points that you want to focus on in the aspect of a startup's growth, right? Retention is obviously one of them. Your MRR is one of them. ARR is one of them, and your NPS. All these things come in like play a part. And as a business, you would rather much want to like focus on the product, right? That's the key thing, that the heartbeat that controls the heartbeat of your entire business. So if that's the case, what we've seen happening in the market is people spend more effort than they have to actually like get these views. Because if you look at the social marketing team, for example, they come up with all this kind of like content, like for blogs and for chat as well. Even the business team, they kind of come up with all this content that has to be actually put into your website, your live chat, your docs. And even if you're running like a campaign, right, that somehow someone needs to figure out how to actually deploy this into social media. So what actually happens is we are trying to make a platform where we handle all your public touchpoints, which means your customer, like real-time chat communication was something we found like was a priority, was something pretty important. That's something where if the moment that we have like a simple platform that actually lets you chat to a customer, right, you can actually make a big difference, right? So that's how UserStak started and how it's going. But we have like a lot of like interesting features lined up that can actually control, like, okay, if you're having like blog, right, that's something that's important for any businesses to have. Even if you're SaaS or if you're a product company, as you have to have a blog, you have to create like community around it so that people know more about you as you build your company, right? So it's all about like increasing your trust factor. So if let's say you're a SaaS company, not just blogging, now you need to have a documentation as well. And you could either go to Docusaurus or you could go to like Notion, you could use any one of them. But which are the ones that are actually like, okay, you don't have to do any sort of tinkering. Docusaurus, open source, one of the companies I was in, we tried it, but it didn't work because ultimately you had to have Markdown files. You need someone to know how to write in Markdown, right? And when you come like the GitBooks is another popular like solution as well. Well, the issue with that is like, okay, how Gitbook is like pretty big in the market, is fully saturated. People know about it, but what about people who want more access privileges? What if you want to make a knowledge base, but for your internal teams as well? And how do you want to structure it? Or do you want to like selectively give password protected pages, So we are very opinionated in the sense, we give our own opinion. It's like something that just get our platform and it can plug and play it easily in your own workflow seamlessly. That's the whole like idea behind it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ajay, for that. And with that, let's get started with the presentation. The screen is all yours. Let's wrap up, and then we'll dive into the product, and then we'll have some Q&A and some difficult questions after that. But
Right, sure.
All right, over to you.
Yeah. Yeah, let me just rejoin quickly. Is that fine?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Meanwhile, guys, while Ajay just rejoins, because I think he probably did not have some permission issue. He's joining in just a moment. Meanwhile, let us know what customer support software are you using right now. I think the chat is now on. Again, apologize. I don't know why, but every single time Zoom by default switches off the chat. The chat is now on, so you guys can leave your comments. Let us know what customer support tool are you using right now at the moment, and what are some of your biggest challenges as well, apart from the pricing factor. So do let us know in the comment, and maybe uh, one of the queries or one of the replies will end up getting like a free code of UserStak. So make sure that you drop in that comment and let us know what you're using right now. So if you're on Facebook, let us know in the comments. If you're on LinkedIn, let us know. If you're on YouTube, or if you're on Zoom, let us know what are you using right now. Ajay, you're muted, just in case if you're trying to say something.
Yeah.
Also, your camera is off.
I don't have the permissions to like start it. Can you share with me again?
Okay, just a second. Can you check now?
Yeah, it's perfect.
So the screen is all yours, and then we'll get started with all the QAs and everything.
Right, got it. Yeah. Okay, so thanks for joining us once again. Very glad to have all of you in this particular like night. So I'm just going to like quickly walk through what customer retention is and how it's actually a very important metric you have to actually track, right? So without further ado, customer retention is all about like how you actually hold back your customers instead of them having to like churn away. Like and that the reason why you have to track this is because it's a pretty important like metric where because the amount of cost you actually like expend on actually acquiring them, right? Like let's say this month you actually spent like a certain amount of like budget on social media or influencer marketing for that matter, and what happens is you spend like some amount of capital acquiring this 100 like users. So what would happen is next month if like let's say 10 of them dropped out, right? So that's actually your customer retention. You can actually use these values, the start period and the end period, to actually like mathematically calculate this. But the idea is the core philosophy behind customer retention is how well you actually like retain your users. You don't want them to keep like dropping out. This is very important if you're like a SaaS-based business, right? You have like a monthly revenue coming in through them. So the more you actually like get like customers for your business, the more you actually also have to like look out for your customer retention as well. Because one of the key indicators if it's failing, right, it'll be very obvious. You know that a lot of your customers are for dropping off, which means that you seriously have to look at how your customer experience is like from the beginning till the end and what is lacking. And one of most often of the time, what I see is usually it boils down to at least like three main categories. One is like the onboarding, right? I will tell, so onboarding, let me just go through the three main things that I've observed first. One is the onboarding. Let's say if a user comes to your platform and then they sign up. So at that particular point, I can assure you they'll be like looking at like 2 or 3 other like competitors that are in your particular field. For example, like buying a domain, simple thing like buying a domain, right? Let's just use that because recently I had to like buy a domain. If you get onboarded and you are not able to like make the purchase successfully, right, the customer is not going to like wait, like even like try again, they'll try to like look around, see if they can get help, and that's it. If they can't get what they're looking for, they'll just like, you'll just have that potential customer lost, and this is not even like a existing customer, this is someone new. You're just losing them because you have like no way to like actually support that. So that's one of the particular ways that I see this like not being like looked after. So before I go into that, I'll just like quickly go through why customer retention, right, is something that that really is, you have like focus on that to avoid this burn. So one of the thing is like it takes like I'm pretty sure you've gotten into like customer success support channels before. Or if your Airtel goes down, you also call like the customer support line, right? So you usually get frustrated when you're holding on a line, waiting for the customer support to come back. And in the internet, the scenario is more like this: you're waiting for an email. Customers want to get information now. Even if they're an existing customer, they want to have it as soon as possible. They don't want to wait around. So that's the reason why like it's very useful to have like a live chat software, which I'll show you guys later. Another key thing is like getting new customers is far more expensive than actually retaining your existing customers. So what does that mean? That means essentially you spend so much effort, you've grown your brand, you've paid for social media, marketing, whatever it may be. You've gotten a customer, you spend a certain amount of money getting that. It's going to be cheaper for you to like retain these customers instead of keep getting new customers again and again, right? Because they're already on your platform. If you have a history with them, you've already built your brand and they actually have like a connection with you because that's why they're even using your software in the first place. So the longer you can actually keep these people, the more better it would be for your financials, because they will still be giving you that revenue. There are many things you can actually do to improve this this metric, but like live chat, documentation, a better onboarding process, all of this actually contribute to how well your customers actually retain. Another important metric to look at is like the average that you'd probably lose, right? If you let's say you don't you haven't had your customer retention all checked out, your customer, your whole end-to-end customer experience, that's not really looked after. What happens is even one customer you lose, that's potential revenue. I've talked about this before, but essentially what it means is you're losing money that user might potentially have paid you for. So that's the whole on a nutshell what customer retention is about. So right now there's this whole I'm going to define the problem even further, right? So today, if you look at every business or product companies, right, what usually happens if you're like a direct to consumer company, you're serving consumers directly, right? The problem is more exaggerated, which essentially means that today we have three main ways that we observe customers actually reaching out to businesses. One is phone. That is to do with mostly these are old businesses, but there's still some core businesses that still rely on the phone service as well. So what happens is you call this phone, then you are sent to an IVR, you have to keep waiting, and you have to go through all these funny menus, right? So this is annoyance for the customer. If they go talk to their friends or even their other businesses or their colleague, right? Word travels fast, and they will be just venting out their frustration rather than a seamless experience. I've personally recognized that one of the services that I actually depend on, I've used them for more than 5 years now. I found that I was actually being an advocate for the service whenever my friends ask me for which service do I recommend for that particular niche. I just recommend them straight away. Similarly for complaints as well, if they are coming in a phone call, they are waiting on minutes and minutes on end instead of getting any responses. These are experiences that will be shared across, and it will definitely affect your stickiness of your platform, because ultimately what you want to have is that stickiness, that is grown by brand loyalty, how well you actually serve them, so that they could actually say hey, I use this service, let me go use it again, they give good service, so you should use it as well, that sort of stuff. So similarly for email, that's similar to phone, that just depends on how quickly your team can actually reply to the email. Even after you send the email, it could go to spam, it could go to their spam or your spam, or it could also it might take some time as well. There's quite a lot of failure points in this as well. And there's also that time element for it's not pretty instantaneous, and it's something that you can't treat as a chat as well. And then ultimately we come on to the social media side of things. Now, this is an interesting case because it is it could be real time, but you're still going to the page and everyone, even if you DM, right, it's still the same thing. You have the feeling what would usually happen nowadays is you go to some businesses profile, right? And you type something that usually what they'll ask you to do is come back and leave a message in that as well. And ultimately it will still take time to actually get someone come in, reply to your inbox as well, unless a better way is actually established over here. Yeah. So what so what we are working on, at least UserStak in this first iteration is working on, right, is we are trying to make a chat platform. So how it works is pretty simple. It lets you embed a chat widget onto a website, and once the user comes onto your website, you would be able to easily talk to them. They could talk to you as well. And you could actually if they have any queries about your pricing, or if they're facing any issues with your particular software as well, these are things that can be easily solved as well. You have someone manning the stations. We also have some integration with other programs. I'll go through those later, so together with the demo. But what it essentially means is that right now, what this like live chat allows you to do, right, is you are directly connecting with the customer, right? It's not like a phone call, or it's not like an email. They chat with you, a notification comes up, you directly talk. They have that like personalization involved in that as well, because it's you that they're talking, then they know that they're not talking to a bot as well, right? So that's one. And the other thing is, instead of like going on to like an email format or in a phone, right, they actually have time to compose their messages, and they can like just ask in like an informal manner, like, I have some issues. This is something that leads to these connections being more personal as well. So let's say it's like you have like a customers, like 100 like different users coming to your website every month, and out of those 5% get converted, right? There's still like a few percentage that you actually like lost there, because they don't have any like questions. I mean, they don't have any like ways to like voice out their questions or ask anything that might actually make the sale. On top of that, you also have your existing customers that you actually want to retain. And these are folks that are actually trying to use the product. You've already made the sale. Now, there's a lot of churn that we've actually observed in SaaS startups or product startups, is that when someone's already become a customer, usually the first time that they actually, there's a lot of the chances of them asking for support in the first few days itself is very high. And if you're not like tending to that support at that particular time, then the chances of them actually like churning away in the next month is actually extremely high. So that's something that we observed as well, right? Okay. So I think it's time that I'll actually talk about the platform and how we actually went about like developing it. So in the beginning, UserStak was just like a Slack plugin, where you can actually like go and select a channel in your Slack account, in your Slack workspace, and then you'd have a widget on your website. So it was pretty straightforward. But then we've evolved to such a state where we actually now have like a dedicated dashboard, because we found out that we can actually do a lot with the messages coming and acting as a bridge, rather than directly uplinking directly to Slack as well. So what is allowed to us to do is, right now UserStak is a platform that actually lets you like put a widget. I'll show you guys how that is done later. It's actually done in like less than 5 minutes. What happens is you put like a 2 or 3 line of code in your website, and it actually gives you a widget. And then if you want to use the platform, you actually come onto the UserStak website, you log in, and you actually have like a interface where you can see all the queries that's been sent to you in real time. So if someone comes to your website, they are unsure about how to do something, certain task, for example, they would just like the button will be directly at the bottom right hand side. So what will happen is they will ask you some question, you'll get the notification, and you reply back to them. So what the dashboard also allows you to do is, if you have like some internal notes, right? For example, you have some internal notes that this customer has this particular issue. For whoever's going to handle it, let's say you're part of like the accounts team, and you need someone from tech to have a look at it. You can just have an internal note set to them. That's the orange color like dialog box that you're actually seeing on the image over there. So what happens is you can actually leave a note to them saying that, okay, this customer, this is not the first time. So that whoever's going to come after you, they can actually have those notes to refer down to as well. So these are the type of like features that having a dedicated dashboard enable us to build as well. So one of the other key things that the dashboard allows you to do is, since right now we are capable of accommodating like a lot of people, like around in like the hundreds. So if you have like a lot of people, let's say you have like 10 or 20 people in your customer success team, what they would do is to address all of these customer queries, right? Not everyone might want to like actually come and join the ticket. 5 people may not need to serve 1 person, right? So to make it more like productive, we actually have the assign and unassign system as well, where you can actually assign it to like certain team members. If they are from a particular department, you can actually like assign it to them as well. And you can we also like building more like features that is to come, which I'll show you guys later on as well. But yeah, this is just in a nutshell what UserStak in its current form can actually do right now, today actually. You guys can just go reach and check it out. So together with that, right, we also have like a very robust Slack integration. So the reason for this is simple. You guys would have probably seen like, okay, there's like a lot of like competitors as well, and they charge by per seat as well. And everyone needs to be literally like on the platform, on the official dashboard, right, to actually get involved. what happens if you are like an early stage team, or you are like part of like a team of managers or executives who want to see actually what's going on in the whole like your support department, right? So what we actually did was this is something that we built early on. So what happens is you actually select a channel, and all the messages go inside this particular channel, right? And from here, everyone in that particular channel, right? It can be anyone you might want to include, maybe your head of customer support and growth, or even your operations people. It's a way for everyone on the channel to be like up to date on what's actually happening, what's the problems that's actually happening. And if you wish, you can actually totally ignore our official dashboard. You can just set up the integration, and this thing will just keep coming, and you still have all the like capabilities right out of here itself. So that means you can close the ticket, you can send them an email directly. You can chat with them, like any one of you guys can chat with like everyone. So that's your names will actually come across and be reflected in the plugin as well. So that's our Slack integration. So I think I would actually give the demo now, just to show you guys like how we can actually go about using UserStak, right?
Yeah, perfect, Jay. You can move to the entire presentation.
Right, sure. 1 second. Right, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Right, perfect. Okay. So yeah, where you guys go, right? I'll leave. So it's basically userstack.com. And once you guys go to the website, you guys will have that login or get started free button over there. So this is how you guys will actually like log into the platform. So I'm going to actually like sign up now, and I'm going to emulate how you'd actually go about. So first thing you guys have to do is you just go register. So I'm just going to put So after registering, what you guys have to do is click to create a workspace. So in UserStak, how a workspace works is, so the way we do is in our workspace, you can have multiple channels, right? So today we have like a website widget, but later on I'll show you what we're actually planning for. So a workspace is essentially where all your chat channels comes in. So what I mean by chat channels is today we have a website, but we are also building something that can integrate with your Twitter, your Instagram. You could actually embed it in your apps itself. So we also like releasing like a SDK. So once you guys have like a app, they can just click on a button and the chat interface can actually come up. So one of the questions that we are asked often is like giving pre-built interfaces, so that if you are someone who's building a product or you're using Webflow, it's not just like React Native app. I don't want to go into the full development sense, but it is available as well. But there are like pre-built like components which you can go into for React Native. But even for Webflow and Framer, we also are working on like a embeddable format of that. So you can just copy paste some code, and the customer won't have to click on a button as well. It's just like a embedded onto the page. So I will just show you what that would like that means as well. I'll just put demo workspace and click on create. Right. So this is the like main interface. So when you come in, right, you are going to be seeing like inbox, analytics, documentation, and workspace. So these are like our primary like sections where you actually go to like sort out like the whole workspace settings, the configuration, or you go into documentation to learn more about the product as well. But for now, I think we'll go on creating a new channel. So this will be the test channel. So let's say I want to create like I want to create like a live chat plugin that I want to put on my website. Right? How do I go about doing that? So I'll create like a channel. So this is going to be test channel. Actually, forget about it. I'll just put website. So it's more clear. So this is a website channel. I'll go about. So like I was saying earlier, right, we have like a chat widget plan embeddable is almost out. WhatsApp, in-app, Twitter, and Instagram DM is something that we'll be working on in version 2 itself, right? So I'm just going to create like a widget. And then the channel is created. So now This is the website channel. So as you create let's say for example Twitter channel or Instagram channel to get any sort of incoming chat requests, right? So the way we are structuring UserStak is there's three main components. One is chat, one is content, and the last one is AI, which I think I'll go through towards all the way towards the end. It's something that is quite some time away. But yeah, so on your channels, right, it could be either like a website channel, it could be even like a blog channel, and content becomes functional as well. So that's what channel means. So you can also have like chat channels, right? So this is an example of what a web widget channel would actually look like. So here you have like a couple of things you can actually go about setting it up, right? So integrations is one. So this is the first step is in how do you go about integrating this? So UserStak can be actually integrated into like almost all of the platforms currently in the market right now. Even if you are coming from WordPress, Webflow, or you're creating like a custom website in React or Next.js, it is something that can be implemented in like less than like a minute. You know, you just need to press like a few buttons and you're done. You don't have to have any developer's knowledge whatsoever, right? So this is another location where you can also integrate this to your Slack, right? So the way we made only one plugin so far, that is Slack. We just wanted to make sure that the plugin we made, it worked perfectly. Today we only support Slack, and right now our focus is more like making like better stability performance issues, fixing, patching those up, getting ready for like prime time. But Slack is currently what we have today. And we've also given like a few instructionals you can use here. These are the most common ones on how to actually implement the chat widget. So in the other tabs, right, in all of these tabs, you'd be actually be able to like go through and see we have like samples and like images to actually help you configure this as well. So we made the whole like platform intuitive. You know, anyone can come in and anyone can actually set up their widget to like however they like it, right? So what do I mean by that? Right. So every aspect you're seeing on the widget, right? So what we want to do is we want to make like a widget that is fully customizable. You know, let's say if you even have like a dark mode of like a website and you want like the whole palette to be dark. You want to have your whole like branding to be shown. You know, you want to show off your branding. You don't want to make like as if the widget is not like part of your platform as well. So you want it to blend in nicely. And users should have like a seamless experience of actually like using it as well. So to that end, right, you can actually like configure all of this colors. You can configure what's actually said in this like CTAs as well. And yeah, you can configure the logo. You can configure like the main heading, what comes inside the CTAs, and you can even toggle the UserStak branding as well. So that is something that what the appearance tab essentially does. And under behavior, this is like how we've made like our version 1. You know, version 1, we wanted to make sure that we have like a robust chat plugin, and they should be able to like come in and with like just a few inputs, right? You should be able to like capture that lead as well. Even if they are existing customers, you want to know this information, you know, like their email information, like which customer is this and what is their plan, what is the product that they're buying. All of this is going to help you serve that customer, and that in turn is going to increase his NPS and the brand loyalty as well, which ultimately makes sure that he stays with your business. You know, it's fine if you guys are like businesses mess up time to time, but the better the more important thing here is if mistakes do happen, how do you connect with the customer immediately? You know, how do you make sure that their opinions and their view of your business, you know, it's still like, okay, these are good guys, they just they need time to figure some things out. Or if you're like a new customer, if you're like in like a customer who's into the platform for like 3 or more than 6 months, you know, you've launched a feature, and if the customer doesn't know how to use a particular feature, or if they paid for something and it's suddenly not working, or they have any difficulty whatsoever, that availability of you being there, there's always a chat plugin where people can actually you can directly talk to a team. That makes a world of a difference, you know, between them actually staying with your platform or going with some other platform, because the competition right now is very hard, you know. So you have to make sure that whatever you can do to polish your entire platform or the product that you're offering, it's better to automate most of this as much as possible. So one of the other things that we also do was what you're seeing right now is the form. So once in the form, right, what happens is they will actually come in and put in their email and message as well. In the next update, we have it so that it's like there's no form required as well. You get to capture their input straight away, and then the whole forms or the WhatsApp or even like SMS notifications actually are going to come in later on as well. So today you can actually like set up. So let's say you also have like a Slack integration done, right? This is something that our users have actually like gave us feedback as well. So what would happen is if you have integrated your Slack channel and you opted to not use this dashboard, you want to actually like have everything in your Slack, right? So what would happen is you integrate it, and then you can actually come in here to like either use your user avatar or your team avatar. That what that essentially means is, does it use the channel picture or your independent profile picture within Slack? We made it this way because we didn't want people to have like that much of reliance on your dashboard if they don't have it, because we found out that like people already have like a lot of apps, so if it's like that, why it doesn't make sense to have like a 8 app or a 9 app. Some of our users actually prefer to have their Slack integration so that the work is still contained within the Slack channel where everyone is involved, everyone can look at the chat as well. So that is one. And the other thing is like everyone gets to like contribute. They can see where exactly you have like problems going on as well. Some customers also like asked us about like a mobile app. So that is something that we are currently like working on as well. So actually have like a demo here. I'm not sure if you guys can like see it. So this is some a dedicated like Android app that we actually going to be releasing like by next week itself. So some of customers, they want to actually like white label the entire experience. White labeling is another big aspect of this. So that is something that we definitely like have in our roadmap, but that's not something we're focusing right now. It's probably going to come out in like within the second quarter of this year itself, very like closely together with like version 2. So right now, this is what we offer in terms of behavior, but we are going to make it much more like better in with other capabilities as well, which I'll like go through later. But apart from that, you also have like operating hours. So obviously your business might not work 24/7, right? So if that is the case, what you can actually like configure your operating hours here. And then if like a user messages you outside of this timing, they would actually have like a message and you would actually have a record of that as well. This is unless if you already have like 20 around the clock support. So that's what behavior actually does as well. So another thing is canned responses. So you guys might have known like, okay, if someone comes and like messages you, if you go to like a particular like business, like you guys might have used like live chat before. So when you reply something and they immediately like reply back to you, right? And usually it feels like, okay, this has been written before. It's like completely like, it's like that's what is known as like a canned response. It's something that it's according to your own SOPs and your branding and your own language, right? These things can actually be controlled to a certain extent so that your customer keeps getting consistent like language that represents your brand at the end of the day. So this was another feature that you can actually like program. So you can actually put in a lot of like different use cases here so that your customer support agents or whoever's handling this, right, they will have all these like necessary or relevant responses for like the most often asked questions by your customers. So this is where you can actually go about and like templatize them. So you can actually put like smart information here. So you can use like user email. But in the future, we are also going to have like API integrations here, so they can actually pass and take information forward as well. So this is where you actually come to like actually like set this up. So I'm just going to put like can response example over here, and I'm going to put how are you doing. So this is one sample. I will show you guys how it will be used later on. And then we also have like these things called like chat widgets, right? So what chat widgets allow you to do is you can essentially put like multiple buttons over here. So another reason why we included this, right, is let's say you have like a calendar link. What we saw, right, was like most platforms would actually control this for you. But let's say you are already a established startup, or you already have your own workflows or your own like platform in place, right? There are some things you don't want to like disturb because it's working perfectly. The conversion is working very well over there. It's more like so we felt that UserStak should be like as a platform. it's something that should integrate well into your own workflow and not the other way around. So one way we actually did that was like, let's say if you have like a booking link, a calendar link, for example, or a Slack community or a documentation, for example. So instead of like having it like at certain locations, right, you can actually give like certain shortcuts within your chat widget itself, so it appears here. So for example, I would like this to be my Slack community channel. So for that, I'm just going to put community over here, and I can also control the subtitle over here, join our community. And what you have to do is just put in example website over here, and then you'd be done. Yeah. So you can keep adding more and more links as you'd like. So we have like a couple of icons for you to use out of the box. And these are the most like often like most common ones we use. So we have seen so far. So that's the whole like chat widget. So essentially what it does is it just lets you have quick access for your users to have quick access to this. So in version 2, one of the things that's going to be happening is this entire thing is going for an overhaul, and we are going to have the documents come inside them. So you can actually like create these interesting connections between the whole chat window and the documentation itself. Yeah. So I think that's all like that's what like a channel essentially. This is how deep the customization actually like goes. So I would now like show how the whole integration process is done, right? Because I said it can be done really quickly. So I went ahead and like gotten this. It's just like a simple website page. It's a bunch of code, and what it would actually do is it would 1 second, yeah. So this is essentially that code makes this website. Okay, it's just one of a free website template that I actually saw online. So let's say this is a simple HTML code. The way you do it in Webflow or WordPress would differ, but essentially they kind of do the same thing. It's just the way it actually happens is a bit different because each platform has like its own way, right? So I'm just going to explain how to do it in like a simple like HTML page, for example. So now what I would like to do is I want to go to the platform, and this is the code that I actually want to like I actually have to implement in the page. On certain platforms like Webflow and WordPress, you don't have to go to each different page to actually set it up. So all you have to do is just set it up in like a core header. We have instructions for those in our docs, but you just set it up in at the end of the body, and you are kind of good to go. So this is the body over here. So I'm just going to make it big, and I'm just going to paste this code that I copied towards the end of it. Yeah. So this is the code that I just copied from the platform, and then I'm just going to save it. And now if I go back and refresh the page, it should, yeah. So what happened right now was the page loaded as we expected, but it also loaded with the chat widget as well. So now remember the part where I actually like went in and set up the Slack community that has came out as well, and I actually like configured it to work with Google. So that is working as well, and that's like another widget. So this could essentially be your meeting appointment, or it could be like your Discord channel, your Slack channel, anything, or even your documentation for that matter. So we purposefully kept it open-ended because this we felt was an easy way to like let people get those conversions, increase those traffic visits as well, because the link is there, and they would just, if they let's say it's out of like operating hours, right, they still see the document, okay, the documentation is over here, or the Slack community communities over here, they would be tempted to join either one of them. That might help them, right? So now going into conversation, right, I'll just type here. So this is test@gmail.com. Hi, how are you? Right. So I've now sent a message, and now what's going to happen is I have that message over here, right? So everyone who messages you, they would be automatically be populated into this inbox. So in UserStak, we have like a unified inbox, and the admin can actually select who gets to view particular channels. If they get to be in the website channel, then only people who are assigned to the website channel will have those messages in their inbox. Likewise, you can also control who to actually like assign it to, and only people within that particular channel will be assigned to it. So this is how it works. It can be set up in like less than like a few minutes, like what I just showed you. And you can also go about like doing like other things in the future as well. So one of those things would be like we are also like bringing like major quality of life updates. One of the key things that we are focusing on right now is to make sure that the platform is stable and performant as well. And most of that is already been done already. And what we are focusing on right now is to make the platform much better before we bring out the CMS update. So yeah, guys, I think that's the example of the whole like UserStak platform, the chat platform. So this should give you guys more or less an idea of what UserStak does. But the core like principle is the same. We focus on chat first because we believe like chat is something that would really like open up the channel between you and the customer instead of just reading a doc or a blog. That has the highest conversion metrics today. Like 47% of people won't even like consider like a website to be competitive. Like they won't feel confident going ahead of it if your website doesn't even have chat. And 68% of people actually prefer that you have a chat widget, because they know, okay, if they have some issues with your platform, there's an easy way they can actually reach out to you rather than like emailing or calling you guys or anything like that. So that is something that would like give your customers a peace of mind, it would like have increase that trust factor so that all these things matter, because like even the smallest thing, right, can be difference between the user going for your platform versus the competitor as well. So yeah, I think that's it from my side. I'll just wrap up like what I was going through earlier as well. So you guys have seen like what we've done so far. I would like to show you guys what we have planned that's coming out like in less than 2 weeks. So this is the final update that we'd actually be giving before we move on to CMS. And that's essentially like QL updates and stability and like performances, we want to like settle in on the platform and make sure that's like extensible. So that's why we want like a quick like performance update before we actually move on to CMS. And the major thing that we are going forward in the second quarter is actually the introduction of the content channels as well. So like I'll just give a quick teaser about this. Essentially, this is something that would enable you to like create documentation or blogs as well, or even change logs. These are some things that any businesses, right, might want to have as well, because this is something that as a customer reads, they have support from that as well. They can learn more about your business, and the industry is something that you can actually use to build a community as well. So CMS was it was a no-brainer from the beginning itself. We knew this is something we definitely have to help businesses with. In fact, we can actually like control this to a certain extent so that we deploy industry best practices so that it's done for you out of the box. Yeah. So I think that's about it from my end. So if there's any questions, you guys can just shoot them out. I'll answer it right away.
Awesome. Thank you so much with regards to that. Do you also have like any sort of like staging server where you can show a V2 right now? That's probably like more visible. I think people will be more excited for that.
Right. So version 2 right now is still under development. I won't be able to show it right now, but we could have it like shown in the next, I think this is the first out of 3 webinars we'll be having. So I think in the next webinar, we'll be happy to show you then.
Got it. So there's the first question coming in.
Yeah.
Some of the user questions that we have across like all the channels right now, and then we dive into other things. One of the questions coming is that they're looking to replace intercom. How soon do you think it gets closer to intercom?
Right. That's a really good question. Yeah. So if you're talking about intercom, they have like a slew of features as well. They are like one of the big OGs or the whole like industries as well. Intercom together with Crisp, these two guys have they are really good businesses. They have done like they innovated very well in when the whole like e-commerce thing was growing up. So in terms of pure feature set, this is something that definitely can't be done overnight, and simply say we are taking like a different direction. So like I said, like because what they are trying to do is they are going fully into, they've made many different features that actually something that they have made, and you have to go in and configure, and then you have to like do that. That is something that we do as well. In fact, for the blog, we feel that approach is better. But as far as like conversational, like the way real-time communication happens, right? The way we approach it is we have a platform where customers can talk to you. That is done. make sure that it's stable and performant. That is our key priority. Get the content done, because in V3 something that we are really going after, and V3 is where we want to deploy AI to it and tune our own model. Because instead of being like Intercom and building certain things like that helps you out with e-commerce, or if they're at a certain page, it detects your behavior, we can actually train a model to do it for us instead of having you go in and configure everything. So it's that, for that reason, we want to build our foundation really well first. And then based on that, now you have like a content warehouse as well. And you essentially now have the data, and you also have like a conversational AI to actually feed off of the data and tune its model to your business, so that this conversational like support can actually go on. So Intercom does this thing in its own way, but we are approaching it in like a slightly different pathway as well.
Awesome. Brilliant. Next question is from Shri. She's asking, he's currently using Tideo. How do you really compare UserStak with Tideo? I think Tideo is pretty popular among e-commerce especially. So I think the question probably molds towards when are the possible integrations like Book or Shopify, the native integration in, so that maybe the user data will start showing up.
Right. So one of the key things that we are going to be improving in version 2 as well is right. So first of all, Tideo is a, like, if I'm not wrong, they charge you by per seat as well. Ours is not like a plan that works in that manner. I think on average, if I'm not wrong, they are charging like $29 or $19. I'm not sure. I've seen like a lot of them, and most of them that I've actually seen, they actually charge on a per seat basis. So this is fine for if you are like mid-market, you're above that, this is fine, but it's a no-go for like SMBs as well. You know, one of the key things is we fundamentally believe that you should not be paying this much just to chat with your customers in real time. You know, it's 2020 already, and we wanted to make sure that let's get the basics done, and let's get it done in a very good way. And that is another reason why we want to do 1.9. We just want to make sure whatever we do currently, we want to do it in a way that actually like can compete with like world-class tools as well. It may not be fully feature filled yet as of now, but in version 2, in like Q2 of this year itself, we are building on other integrations like API access and webhooks as well, where what this essentially will allow you to do, if you have like a development team, right, is you can actually get information from your customers. You can ask them like, what is your ticket number, or what is your order number? You know, you can fetch that order number. You can do a lot of logic around it, and you can, for example, you can send them back whatever they bought. You can send them back the delivery information. This is obviously going to be for like the teams with like development capabilities. But another aspect that we're working on is integrations. So let's say you have Airtable, and this is the no-code side of it, which basically means you don't have to do any development. You know, this is something that you're able to like set up for your clients, even if you're an agency, or you'll be able to like set it up by yourself as well. What would happen is, let me make a form, let me get some input, and if I get a particular input, like a order ticket number, right, what I've said on development side, you'll be able to like replicate this entire process in the no-code side as well. If you're using Airtable, you'd be able to do that. You can connect it with Xano as well, because they use the API interface as well. So this is the way we like building it. And over time, we will also this is in Q3 when AI comes out. We also have like a narrative builder. And what the narrative builder does, right, is we would actually like link it up to content. So it tunes itself off of that knowledge and tunes the model. But on top of that, right, you can feed in information, and you can like say yes or no. This answer actually makes sense for this question. So you can actually like go about building out like a model that's tuned for your own business as well, because AI is something that's inevitable. It's definitely going to come. That is the direction that we actually want to go to, so that we use AI to accelerate and automate most of your like your workflow as much as possible. That is our North Star metric over here.
The next question coming in is, this is actually, before prior to that, I think because we are in a flow, let me ask you this one question. Do you plan to get GPT by any chance, and probably link that training with this? So what's going to happen is you don't really have to build a bot. The bot gets trained from knowledge base, which acts as a prompt. So, and to add something like this, because I haven't seen anyone adding it this way, because the problem with ChatGPT is that there's just abundant of too much information. that might not be relevant when it comes to chatbot. What if you
Right.
just turn your knowledge base into products?
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what we are trying to do in version 3. So when I say AI, right, there's like
Does that
quite a
come
lot
in
of like,
version 3?
yes, that is in version 3. That is going to come within like Q3 of this year itself. We have two major updates that's slated for this year, version 2. That is where the CMS comes
So
in.
when
And
you Q2 as per US standards or as per Indian standards? Because is from July to
Mhm.
September
Yes.
versus in India. So in US, it's from this April to June. So which Q2 are you looking for?
That's the Indian one. We are going with the Indian one. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So you're September then.
Yes, correct. That's correct.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah. So the way we are approaching the whole AI equation is right. It's pretty clear. I think this is something we can debate or argue about, but it's very clear that AI is going to be a big part of like how businesses do their whole workflows done in the future. So the very reason why we built Chat First was a way where your business can communicate with customers. And what content actually does, right? That was the second main branch of what we do. The reason why we wanted to build content is because we want a place where you can bring all your information, all your business SOPs, your documentation, whatever it is. We wanted a place where you can actually gather information. So now with Chat, you have a way where you can actually give out information, a bridge where you can actually connect with customers, right? And we now have like content as well. Now, if
Right.
we were to add a AI layer on top of it, you already have everything. You have a way to talk to customers. You also have all the knowledge that you already need. So the way we are deploying AI is, yes, we are doing conversational things as well. It's already trained on your documentation. Customers can just pull up in your docs. They can wherever you implement it, if it is in your SaaS or in your mobile app, they can just pull it up, and they would just like conversationally ask what is my where's my product, or how do I go about doing and the AI would be actually be smart enough because it's trained on your own data set to actually reply these questions on your behalf. And all of this would get better over time as more and more prompts come in, because you'd eventually be moderating, at least in the early days. But over time, what we are essentially allowing is for every business to have their own, because ChatGPT is something that everyone will have. But we also believe that every business needs to build a mode on top of it. And what this means in the AI world is you have to have your own model that is tuned to your own information as well. So that is something that's for
I
you.
think I think that makes sense, because then you can basically turn all of the blog posts, because people will do blog posts around their subject. They'll do like they'll talk about their topics. They would not talk anything random. So I think it makes complete sense. So with that, there's next question coming in. When are you planning to add WhatsApp API? So WhatsApp Business API.
Right. WhatsApp Business API, that is something that's already scheduled for version 2. Version 2, there's going to be a few integrations that's going to be coming out for chat. Not just WhatsApp, but Twitter as well, because that's something we face like high demand for.
So I think you said like version 2 is going to come in like next 2-3 weeks.
That's in the second quarter of this year. Version 2's the 1.9 is going to come in the next 2 weeks. But in the second quarter, we have version 2 coming out, because that has a lot of like performance fixes and platform QoL updates. It's going to be like a major update that we're going to be having.
Got it. Got it. So by when can we people expect WhatsApp API in that case?
Yeah, so that would be out. Like if I were to give like a good timeline, just to be on the safer side, I would say like probably 2.5 months. So we are trying to like push it even further than, because
Probably like May, June is what we are estimating for WhatsApp API.
it's not just the fact that it's the WhatsApp. The WhatsApp API is pretty straightforward. That's something that is pretty easy. But what we're actually trying to do with the WhatsApp API is to actually give a way for you to build like this thing called narratives, which is essentially like building a whole chatbot, and you can actually collect payments. And these are the things. It's going to be like a fully fleshed out system, because for WhatsApp, it's far more like people have now grown to accept chatbots, and it's pretty if you go in Bangalore, you go for a ticket, if you want to buy a ticket, right? It's come to a point where it's pretty seamless. You just select a station. Payment is even done in WhatsApp itself. So how do business do this with WhatsApp? We want to demystify this whole thing. We want to make sure that every business should have the ability to make this kind of like bots in a very simple manner. Avoid the development time, let alone the cost as well.
Right.
So yeah, these are things we want to make it like whatever we do, it might be very simple, but we make sure that it's done in the right way or done in a very intuitive manner as well.
No, I think it makes complete sense with regards to that. There's one more question coming in. Would uh, would it be possible to remove UserStak branding with any of the plans?
Yes, yes. So on any plate plans, you are able to remove the branding. It's just a shameless perk for our own business as well. But it's fine. Now the way we, if you guys are like really like us and you want to support us, you can have the branding. But the way we envision is you should have the control of the entire experience. And like over time, this is not a priority for us at the moment, but within this year, in June or July itself, we'll have themes coming out as well, and we'll have more styling options as well. Like some people like the minimal look, some people like some modern or even like retro funny looks as well. We want these kind of things to be like able to be controlled by the customers.
Got it. With that, there's another question coming in. Do you plan to add Microsoft Teams integration because there's Slack integration?
Yeah, so I would say we are still on the edge about that. Microsoft Team, that's something we have gotten like repeatedly over time. Many people have actually like asked us to do that as well. It is something that's definitely we are looking at. If we do get like more like a demand for this, we would probably like do it. We feel that Microsoft Teams is pretty straightforward. It probably would take us like we just need like make sure that the effort is actually spent. There's a lot of people, so this is something that we definitely would have by the end of the year. But
Ajay definitely considered it. The sole reason is that Microsoft Teams is far bigger than Slack now. The user base is far bigger. So I definitely think you should do that because that will also help you to sort of like grow UserStak, which will build a lot of confidence for any sort of like LTD users or buyers that are buying the product right now. Will give them a lot of confidence. And I think you will be able to tap into like pretty good like mid-size and sort of like enterprise business with that as well. Because usually what's happening right now is most of the people are moving to Microsoft Teams because they just keep adding like a new SaaS every year,
yeah,
right? So they just bundle everything under like Microsoft One, and they don't charge extra. So a lot of users are like moving to Microsoft on subscriptions over there. So I definitely think you should
yeah.
probably consider that.
Yeah. So the thing about that is 100% agree with you, because last year when we started this, we wanted to start off Slack because that's what we were using. The idea was to actually go about building Microsoft Teams as well. But then more customers actually asked for a dedicated plan. It also meant that we could do all these kind of things that I've actually shown you today. But yeah, Microsoft Teams is something that we'll definitely explore. We'll make it sooner, if not later than possible. Yeah.
Awesome. Just to come back to the previous question and the answer. So yes, you can already remove the UserStak branding in any of the paid plans. So just go to settings and you'll find the option to just just uncheck the branding from there. So it's quite simple. It's available on all the plans. So you don't have to specifically buy like a higher plan just to kind of like remove the branding. So that's completely up to you already. Just to come back again, what are the timelines for Shopify and WooCommerce integration?
The timeline for Shopify and WooCommerce, that would I would say that those would be well before like September itself.
Okay, so we're looking at in version 3.
Yes, yeah.
Got it. Okay. So basically in version 2, you're primarily looking for like a major overhaul on the UI.
Yes, that's 1.9. So it's just just the last update that is coming within 2 weeks. In version 2 is where documentation builder, blog builder, everything that has to do with content, right? That's where these things are going to come in. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Perfect. Let me just check. Okay. So there's a suggestion coming in that you can probably integrate Rasa AI, which is an open source AI model for NLP for the chatbot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that recommendation. I think Ajay and the team probably are aware of like what they're doing, but definitely thank you for the suggestion.
No, just to like add on whoever's recommended, yeah, we did actually like explore that as well. But we felt that at this point it doesn't, because the better control we have of the platform, right? We are making something from the ground up. We are making it in this manner specifically so that we can integrate with like ChatGPT, Bard, or any other information. So we had to be aware of how the whole like structure is actually made internally. So this just better, not to say that we are better than Rasa AI, this is just done so that we have better control, granular control on the
I just
platform.
feel like OpenAI has really sort of like taken a lead, and they're already like a market leader in this particular space. And the amount of data that they have, that sheer data that they have, and the training the AI modules with just like prompts,
Yeah.
I think that's what makes OpenAI so very user friendly for developers to be implemented. Where I think you can probably like integrate the whole system maybe in less than a days, like less than a couple of days. If you
Yeah.
have all the interface and everything, right? It's just building up the prompts. That's it. You just got to send the prompts and start sending the replies. So I think the effectiveness of the product that OpenAI has built, and especially with now ChatGPT API coming in as well, I think it just makes it extremely strong. So once you're able to turn your blog post or your knowledge base into prompts and send that to OpenAI, it will be able to start giving you a very highly relevant data right away. So I think that's where probably and the user that team, if I'm wrong, over here.
Sorry, can you say that again?
No, so I think that's what you're heading towards, right? Like using the blog content and using the knowledge-based content, and then just train the chatbot from there.
Yes, yeah, that's mainly what we're heading towards. But not just that. In like even for like not it's just not going to be used within chat, but even in documentation, right? Let's say you are making content as well.
Right.
You because AI, the way we apply AI is over like a holistic approach. It's not supposed to just help you with conversation and be there. It's supposed to like throughout all these touch points that we are helping you control, most of those processes which can be automated will be automated, and those that can actually accelerate your workflow will be like, one example is like images, right? You now need an image for your blog post. When version 3 does, in version 2 you will have your chat platform where you can actually go in and put in the information. In version 3, what that's going to mean for content is now there's going to be another button, and when you just, all you have to do is just type in what image you want and you'd have it generated for you. And same goes for the content as well. So it's more like a holistic approach. We've applied the power of AI wherever we could in every like public touch points within UserStak.
All right. I think, we have pretty much covered most of the questions. Let me just check. Yes, I guess all the questions are covered. Again, guys, if there's take them. Meanwhile, just a couple of other exciting stuff. So we will be launching like a free plan very, very, very soon for all of you guys to just go ahead and test out our incredible UserStak, and especially the 1.9 version and 2 that's coming out. I think the UI is gorgeous. The screenshot that you have shared, I think it's very, very, very exciting. I think chat is one such applications where you expect the UI to be amazing, because um, the support people are spending like their entire life,
Yeah.
right? So it makes a lot of difference. So we're very excited towards that. So thank you so much for that. Let me just quickly check. So I think all the questions are answered. So I guess with that, we will be wrapping up, guys. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoyed. So there's like one last question coming in. Have any success stories? And if you can share that.
Yes, yes, we do. Recently, one of our clients was like a web design agency, and they just had a landing page before we came to. There was a friend of mine as well, and they did product and launch one. They actually had like a bunch of clients coming in, and that was giving them. They were doing all sort of like different things, you know. One of the big questions was why weren't they getting any leads? Why didn't they get any bookings? You know. So what actually was happening was web design agencies, one example, but it's a very highly competitive niche, you know, and the prices that that business was charging was also in the premium, you know, it was like proper international customers, all of this, but still there wasn't any leads coming in, you know, blogs, you know, their website was getting traffic in like at least 200 or 300 users coming every month, but it didn't get any booking. So once we deployed UserStak, what happened was that now the people who were actually reaching out, you know, they were able to like talk to people. There was like Slack inquiries as well, because my friend didn't use the dashboard, it was in Slack directly. And what happened was they had like customer queries, and they were able to like close some customer queries as well, because a simple question can actually turn onto a long discussion. and it's easy for that long discussion to actually move on to like an email appointment or like a live call or a web video call, you know. So when you are like a SaaS founder or a physical product founder, and let's say you are getting like 100 people coming every day, you can look at the industry conversion rate, you'll know 5%. But what about those like how can you improve the number to maybe 7 or 10%? How if you're already doing 1%, you're already trying everything you can, right? It's just to get you that the customer to talk with you, to engage with you, so that you can actually go about converting them.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much, Ajay, for that. So, guys, if you want deal, the Slack, it's available on PitchGround right now. Just go to pitchground.com/product/UserStak. You'll be able to get it. Otherwise, you can just go to the homepage and you can simply write user, and you'll see UserStak right away over here. It's literally available for $49, unlimited users for one workspace. I think you're absolutely like bang on over here. A workspace basically means one brand. So if you have like multiple brands, you can just opt for it. So typically, if you're just starting out, plan one is sufficient for your need out there. But if you have multiple brands out there, if you want to have like if you have multiple websites, that's exactly when like you opt for plan B and so on. And if you don't want to bother about anything in the future, then just opt for plan D. Then just opt for plan D, and it comes with unlimited workspace. So again, the pricing is incredible. The software is in a constant mode. And again, remember that the moment we launch V2, we might not be able to offer the unlimited anymore, because as the software matures up, it's impossible to just keep offering the same pricing, same offers. So do take advantage of what we have right now. And as the software evolves, you'll probably see like prices jumping up. You'll probably see like a lot of other stuff probably like going away. And while the users that have opted for early will be a lot of these amazing pricing and features as well. So make sure that you opt in. All the future updates are included. Just one question coming in. Will there be an extra price that people have to pay for WhatsApp API integration?
Right. For that question, yes, there will be a charge. We will give like a set amount of like messages that you can send for free. But after a certain period, right, you'd have to pay on for more messages that you might want to send. It's not going to be like feasible for us to give you unlimited and send like 1,000 or maybe like 1,000,000 messages.
Right. Again, and again, this is basically like what Facebook is charging. So Facebook or Meta basically charges on like per message basis. That the pricing is very transparent. You can just Google WhatsApp API pricing. You land on Meta's official website where they talk about the pricing. So that what is like so very important. So just have a check on that, and you'll be able to like get a lot of information about it. So with that, yes, with that up. So guys, thank you so much for joining in today. We'll be coming back once again with Ajay. We'll be sharing a lot of stuff, and I think probably come back in like next 2 weeks as soon as version 1.9 goes live. We'll share a lot of new stuff that's coming by. Until then, great day, have a great week ahead, and happy Holi here in India, and happy Women's Day to everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me, Udin.
Thank you so much, Ajay.
Yeah. Bye.